The BMAT is really good for a greenfield project and not as good for brownfield, but my case is definitely a brownfield case where I've got an existing product that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, and I feel like it was doing some great work helping to unlock opportunities for me.
A lot of times people don't think about AI tools, especially now. There's a lot of expectation of like that time to wow has to be instant. We're used to lovable and things like that.
One of the things I've noticed in vibe coding, right, is that you'll get the same look and feel a lot of times. So I had to be really specific in like, this is the aesthetic I want. This is the vibe that I want.
Welcome to another episode of AI Product Leader. Every week we shine a light on what it really takes to join the AI world. Real conversations with real AI builders, founders, product leaders, AI experts, technologists, and everything in between to understand where the AI world is right now and what that path looks like, whether you're building AI products or building an AI career. I'm your host, Polly Allen. I'm the founder of AI Career Boost, where I spend my time helping product managers and leaders navigate the world of AI and thrive in AI roles. And I've spent my career in both product management and software development sides of the fence in developing software. I'm an Alexa AI principal product manager where I successfully launched the very first generative AI answers on Alexa. And I'm really excited to have our guest join us today. Phil, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Phil Fairbrother is a product leader who lives at the intersection of AI, experimentation, and human-centered design. With a track record spanning insurance, e-commerce, and creative tech, he's known for transforming ambiguity into growth, whether launching chat-based sales funnels at SelectQuote or building custom CMS tools for independent creators. Phil brings a grounded, cross-functional approach to product leadership, blending agile delivery with discovery-driven strategy. And he's passionate about accessibility, ethical design, and using AI to enhance how teams and users thrive. Thanks so much for joining us, Phil. I'm really excited to dive into it today, especially that you're doing both AI and management at work for products and teams, but also that you've got your own entrepreneurial endeavors on the side too. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely. I try to stay busy.
Fantastic. Well, I remember when you were part of the AI Career Boost course too, you were always bringing new ideas and be like, I've mocked up this, I've mocked up that. So we're in for a treat today to talk about your latest ventures.
The blessing and curse of being a product person is I've got ideas all the time coming in and out. Good ones, mostly bad ones.
But they're still fun to build, that's the problem.
That's right.
Well, before we get too much into the AI side of things, we just looked a little more about you and your background. So before you came into your current role where you're directing product management, what was your background and what got you into the space in the first place?
I started in call centers. So I was a call center supervisor for Tire Kingdom, NTB, Big O Tires, and specifically, I helped customer service for their website. So if a customer was on their website trying to buy tires, they called me and my team, and we helped walk them through that. What that really helped me with was it pushed me into being a subject matter expert on the website, which then translated into an opportunity to change career trajectory into product management. So I'm very user focused when I look at problems, which is a good place for a product manager to be,
especially right now. Yeah, with AI being the focus. Absolutely.
And from there, I was a product manager for TBC for several years. TBC being the parent company for a lot of different tire chains. And I focused on their e-commerce side as well as some of their franchise tooling. And then a couple of years ago, I transitioned over into the insurance world and lead generation world of SelectQuote, where I've been for the last 3 years.
Nice. Awesome. And what does SelectQuote do? Just give us a little more context.
SelectQuote is an insurance company. We have insurance agents that work for us that sell life insurance. They sell final expense insurance, Medicare insurance, home and auto insurance, lots of different things. I'm part of the project team that works on our Healthcare Select product, which is not an insurance, but more of a membership for people who are of Medicare age so that they can find links to different opportunities, different programs to help them get groceries or to help them get cell phones. We also run a pharmacy called SelectRx. We're branching into a partnership with a company called Select Sync, which is like telemedication or telehealth. Doctor's visits. And then one of our newest products that I'm working on right now is we're expanding to have local offices. So historically, SelectQuote is a phone company. We do quotes for insurance over the phone.
Okay, that's outstanding.
But we are franchising out and starting to open local offices for people who want to walk in and buy insurance.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel especially right now with AI slop creating so much going on online that more and more places are going to be looking for places to engage in real life as opposed to
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and we definitely see that with especially with our older audience, the people who are of Medicare age
Yeah.
and wanting to shop. They prefer to do it in person, and they want to shake hands and sign contracts with a pen instead of typing their name out.
Totally. Well, it's totally, I can see it's an area, it's sprawling out. There's a lot to manage there, but it's also an area where user trust is so paramount. You're talking about finances and health and things like that. So I'd love to dive into how you guys are approaching using AI, especially in areas like insurance that are these like your money or your life, really high stakes and trust is paramount kind of verticals.
Yeah, and we've had some challenges there for sure. I know as we've started to dive into AI, a lot of our operations are call center operations. So the natural place to dive in was having a generative IVR that makes sure that the people that are calling in get to the right agents. We definitely had some trial and failure in that area with a couple of different things, especially.
Are you allowed to go into what went wrong, or is it too painful?
Because insurance is so highly regulated, generative AI, especially a couple of years ago or
Yeah.
even a couple of months ago, right, had a lot more propensity to hallucinate. And
Yeah,
that's not something you want when you're talking about a very regulated industry.
exactly.
So we've kind of transitioned. We still have a strong focus in AI and trying to find the right place to use it as a company. So we are rolling out programs like agent training,
Mm,
where we have AI that an agent can speak to and train through objections and different sales
okay.
funnels and those sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And are these generally these are IVR, so these are natural voice agents. Have you found people respond okay to that if they're not speaking to a human or they know they aren't speaking to a human?
It depends. I think there are people who are okay with it. I think three buckets, right? There's people
Yeah.
that are okay with it, people that are not okay with it, and people who don't know that they're not speaking to a human.
Yeah. And do you
Even
feel
if
like
it's pretty obvious.
okay, like yeah, I was going to ask, do you feel like it's kind of undetectable now or is it still pretty obvious when people are on the phone?
I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm also very used to it and familiar with
Yeah.
it. So
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting because I think there's definitely the anti-AI crowd who get angry. But I've read studies that in some cases they're like, this is faster. I got a person faster. And it's much better than the old IVR systems of old of like press one for this and two for that.
and really, one of the places that we've used it is as a fallback.
Yeah,
So if we are one of the things with Medicare insurance in particular is that you have annual enrollment periods through the year. So
yeah,
during the months of November and December, that's when annual enrollment is, and so
mhm,
that's when our busy season is. We get a ton of phone
of
calls. We
course.
staff up really heavily, but we still drop a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
If we can divert those calls at the point that they would normally abandon instead and have them talk to our agent
yeah,
and give us just the basic information
right.
that we need
Yeah,
to get them to the right agent. Uh,
exactly.
it saves us a whole lot of heartache and it saves them a whole lot of heartache from having to wait an extra 10 minutes on the phone sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It can be better for both sides. I think that's something people lose is they're like, this isn't just a corporate drive for efficiency. It can actually enable better experiences. Yeah, absolutely. So you're also managing development of digital products where you are. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey? You've been building on your own, and now you're trying to build more of those practices, bring more of those practices in at Select Quote. We'd love to just hear more about how that all evolved.
Absolutely. My team at SelectQuote is really focused on our websites and lead generation and the digital experience. And so obviously there's some opportunity for AI potentially there. We haven't really worked that into how does that work in our product.
Yeah.
Something I've been talking to our upper management from an IT perspective is how do we get more involved with AI coding agents? So we've been test piloting Kiro from Amazon, and have found a lot of success with our developers who are using that as a code co-pilot, using it as a coworker, right? As long as we're not depending on it fully, those types of tools enable so much they help to unlock so much untapped productivity, especially from our more talented developers.
Yeah.
um,
Exactly. It's interesting because I know people used to talk about 10x developers because there would be occasionally someone who is just comes along and they are so much more productive than other developers. And I don't know if you've had a sense of like, does this make 10x developers 100x developers, or does it just make that like more the baseline is higher and that like anyone can be a 5x developer at least now?
yeah, I've seen that it is for that 10x developer, it can turn them into, I don't know, a 100x developer, but it definitely can improve their output significantly. And I think that the higher quality that the more senior developer is and the more experience they have, especially if the more experience they have reviewing code, because
Yeah.
that becomes more and more of what their job is reviewing the output.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really thrive in this new environment of development.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like it's a different skill set to be able to like review and think with the tools instead of just blindly accepting. So, is it coming to product management as well?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine who works in a different vertical, and we were talking about something he brought up called the BMAD method. And so I started looking into this. The BMAD method, it stands for Breakthrough Method of Agile AI Driven Development,
Okay.
and it is a framework that offers simple, highly innovative solution to agentic development.
Interesting.
So what it is essentially, the limited amount that I've used it, and we're starting to look at it at SelectQuote as could we potentially
Yeah.
put this into our product development workflow? But what it is it's several agents designed to work together to work through this agile development method. So you've got your
Great.
business analyst agent, you've got a
Right.
brainstorming agent who uses a ton of
Mhm.
different brainstorming frameworks.
Interesting.
You've got your PM or product manager agent
Yeah.
who can write a PRD based off of what you find with your business analyst. It does
Okay.
competitive research. It's really cool. A lot of different agents that are specialized to do what they do.
And so for like the non-coding parts, the product development work, that you can actually, I love the idea of specialized agents for each of these. I've seen a lot of like different frameworks for this. A lot of people are like, try out my product manager. No, try out mine. But I like this idea of like, oh no, it's a whole team here
Yeah,
kind of thing
yeah,
that you can different skills.
and I'm still testing it out myself. So I'm not trying to plug it too hard, but
No,
the
we're not getting paid to talk about that.
right, not getting paid by the
I think it's
BMAT.
open
I don't know
source
how
too,
much
isn't
they
it?
get paid actually. It's
Yeah.
open source, which is also very cool.
Yeah.
I've been lurking in their Discord, kind of reading some of the development talk that happens in
Yeah.
there. It's very interesting stuff.
Interesting.
But
And you mentioned you're using Claude Code as kind of that's where you can like import these agents, direct them from, right? Those who have never used, say, Claude Code, can you talk a little bit about like not necessarily when you're writing code, it's one thing, but when you're working in product, does it feel like they're coworkers? Does it feel like you're a director? Like how does it feel when you're working with different agents with these different capabilities?
it feels like I'm the executive, right, or the founder who's pitching a product and saying, "Hey, let's brainstorm this product." So my biggest use case to date is I have a product that we can talk about in a little bit here that I've been building, and I wanted to come up with some ideas of how to monetize this product.
Hmm.
Because that's kind of my area of weakness. I have not been able to figure that how to crack that shell
Got
just yet.
it. Gotcha.
So I opened up this brainstorming agent and just
Yeah.
told it, hey, here's the product that I have. Here are the features that I built.
Yeah.
Here's what the market that I want to serve, or the market that I've been thinking that I should serve. And then I just let it go. And it started asking me questions. It asked me, what kind of framework do you want to use? And it gave me a couple of different options. And then one of those options was use the AI recommendation for frameworks. And I was like, great, that's the one I want. What do you
Okay.
recommend, AI?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. I recommend myself.
And so it started pulling me through these frameworks. Scamper is one of the frameworks that it used. It used a lot of negative frameworks. So what if you didn't do this? What if you didn't do this? But ultimately, it came up with like 24 ideas through about a 40-minute brainstorming session of asking me
Amazing.
these different questions
Yeah.
of how I could monetize my product.
Amazing.
And then I was able to transfer that over to the product manager agent
Yeah.
who started helping me build an action plan in the form of a PRD.
Okay.
What I've heard is that the BMAT is really good for the greenfield projects
Okay.
and not as good for brownfield. But my case is definitely a brownfield case where I've got an existing product that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, and I feel
Right.
like it was doing
Yeah.
some great
You've
work
still
helping
found
to
it.
unlock
Right.
opportunities for me.
Yeah, exactly. So have you managed to like put any of these implementations into, if you're still working on these, or have any of them no success or failure reports yet, but you're working on it. Well, let's dive into what this project is, though. I know we've talked about it a little bit offline, but you as part of the program you developed a bunch of different ideas, but this is slightly different. This is a content management system, correct? Even what was the genesis of it? How did the idea come to you?
Well, I signed up for AI Career Boost several months ago and really got a taste for what it is to be an AI product leader over my time with you. And part of that was vibe coding, and getting a chance. I did a vibe coding boot camp with you guys and really fell in love with the ability to take what I can do as a product manager who has a lot of ideas, good or bad or other, and build those with some technical but very limited technical knowledge.
Yeah.
So I've been vibe coding whatever I can think of since then. But one of those things was my sister came to me and was like, "Hey, she's an independent author. She's got 3 or 4 books published through Amazon,
Oh, nice.
and she's like, I need a website. I have this WordPress blog. It looks awful. How do I make myself look professional so I can start sending out my manuscripts to agents and have them take me more serious?" And so I built her something. It took me about 3 hours to do. I built in an admin panel for her so she can manage her own content without having to come back to me and have me build more stuff for her in Claude. And actually, it was Replit at that point that I was using, which I love Replit. A big fan of them, especially for prototyping. So,
A quick question about that, because I know people
sure.
are so curious about tools. Did you start in Replit, or did you start in something like Lovable when you first gave a first crack of vibe coding?
So what I did is I took your advice at that point, I think, and I had Lovable, I had Replit, I had maybe 1 or 2 other vibe coding tools, and I typed in my prompt into all of them, what I wanted, and I picked the one that I liked the most, and that just happened to be Replit,
Okay, cool, cool.
which I
And so,
think was a
because some
win
people
because
find the interface kind of intimidating.
yeah.
It's like it looks a lot more like a development tool, but you, but you'll know right away. I think if you're just like, I don't want to spend time on this tool, or
Yep, absolutely.
personal preference. Awesome.
And I
And
definitely,
then
another thing I'd say, sorry, just along that same line, is that one of the things I've noticed in vibe coding, right, is that you'll get the same look and feel a lot of times. So I had to be really specific in like, this is the aesthetic I want. This is the vibe that I want. Here are like 3 or 4 example websites that I think look cool and professional, and I want you to build me a website that looks like this.
yeah,
And even then,
absolutely.
sometimes I had to get it to iterate on its own designs before I got what I was really happy with.
Totally, totally. If you're just trying to mock up an interaction to get feedback on like, is this the right workflow? You don't care about the look and feel as much. But once you do, they do all start to look the same, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But they
Without you,
have the ability to not. Sometimes you just have to prompt the engineer. You have to engineer the prompt in the right direction to get what you
yeah,
really are looking
absolutely.
for.
That makes sense. And I'd love to talk more about that. We're going back to the CMS, the tool and the website management. But you've since moved to Claude Code, right? From Replit. It's kind of your number one tool. What do you
Yeah, I
know? What
moved.
prompted the move?
Honestly, it was a financial decision.
Yeah,
Replit starts to get really expensive, especially if you're
mhm,
making a lot of changes.
yeah,
Claude Code also is not, especially if you're using it a lot. Like I'm at the point where I'm in their max tier, because I use it that often. I still pay less than I did for my first couple months of Replit, where I I just had it turned on to my credit card and I didn't realize how much I was spending.
oh dear. I was like, I hope I warned you against that.
Yeah, there was a point where I looked and I was like, oh, my bill's a
Oh,
little high on the Replit. So, but I was able to transition over. It was a great starting place for
yeah,
sure. Claude Code, though, now that I've got a really good workflow, is great for what I'm doing.
yeah.
So
And you can use
one,
it for both kind of coding projects and like we're talking about the brainstorming, hey, help find me business ideas. How
yep,
do I promote this?
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Excellent. So yes, back to the CMS evolution. So your sister wanted a website.
She wanted a website, and I started thinking, man, I wonder if I could come up with a way to build websites for people who are in the same situation, artists or musicians or authors who don't want to spend a lot of money but deserve a more professional looking website than they can get from Wix or the
Right.
GoDaddy generic
Yeah,
builder. And also find a way to save them time, because that's another thing. Even if you are building your own site through one of those site builders, it can be really time consuming and then not get the kind of output that you want.
absolutely.
So from that idea, I started to think, man, it would be really hard to manage this if I'm building these sites one by one, which turned into I really need to build some kind of centralized nervous system or content management system, way for people to be able to manage their content and for me to be able to update that over time with new features and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. So when you first started, you started thinking of it as a tool you might use as part of your business, like to accelerate you. And then you're like, well, wait, maybe I could put this in my users' hands.
Yeah, and it's great because I can think back on 10 years of building websites in the corporate world. Like, what are the things that I wish that I had that would make my life so much easier,
Yeah,
and not having to go through the rigmarole of getting the development approved and just spending a night 4 or 5 hours building a new module or a new tool
absolutely.
to add to the toolkit.
And it's such a rich area for people to mine. I think it's important to know that you're like, hey, as an experienced professional, what are the things that like would have saved me hours in my experience, right? Like it's what gold is for sure. Because then not only do you know it's valuable, but you also know who it's valuable to, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
I have
oh,
I
go
have the
ahead.
perspective of the website builder in me and the content manager in me, of like, these are the things that make this valuable. And then I've
Yeah.
also got my sister who's my client,
Yeah.
and my friends who are in bands, and her network of independent author friends,
Yeah.
her whole Bookstagram book talk group
Yeah.
of friends that I can say, hey, is this valuable or not?
Right. And that's the key, right? Is actually getting it to the users. That's the one part that the cloud agents can't do for you.
Right.
I mean, pretty soon you could just be like, spin up a voice agent and please phone these people for me. But, when we get into Moldbot, Claudebot territory. But in the meantime, like really getting rich feedback from people and knowing what would make it more valuable. So, what would you say does make this difference from a Wix or a Squarespace? What makes this better?
Well, in my humble opinion, I think the product is better at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you have a tool that's very user friendly to use from a content management perspective, but you also have a professional looking website that doesn't look like every other site out there.
Nice.
That is
Nice.
one thing that I've found that I'm still kind of noodling through, is how do I make it more of a templated design, something that is easy for someone to build on their own. Because my initial thought was, I'll just let people sign up with me and I'll build all the sites for them, because I
Right.
love doing that. But
Yeah.
that's not really sustainable, especially when I
Yeah.
have a very demanding day job as well,
Yeah.
and a
This
wife and
is side
kids. Who like,
hustle. You're by de facto always going to be limited for the time you can do.
yeah.
Just keep it
So,
straight.
and that's one of the things that my brainstorming agent was like, hey, you can't do this all on your own. You've got to find a way to compete with companies that let people do it on their own time without having to ever talk to somebody, because that's another thing. People don't like talking to anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's kind of led me into this next evolution of my project, which is to build in a more of an instant site builder, where I can prompt a user who is a musician to give me a Spotify link, and from that Spotify link, I can use whatever APIs are available. I can feed it into a Claude or OpenAI or whatever AI to go out and scrape information, and then come back with their discography, build a palette of colors based off of their album covers or their most recent
Oh
album
yeah, like a
covers.
brand kit for them kind of thing.
Exactly. And then from there, plug that into one or two or three or four different templates and let them see, hey, you gave me a Spotify link 30 seconds ago.
Yeah,
Here's your personal website. Which one of these four do you like? And
amazing.
go ahead and sign up. And now you can control your blogs and your marketing and all
Right.
those things with this really cool CMS tool that I've also built on the side.
Nice, awesome. Oh, I like that. I can see that being a real appeal. A lot of times people don't think about AI tools, especially now. There's a lot of expectation of like that time to wow has to be instant. We're used to lovable and things like that. And if they don't get how it's better than ChatGPT within the first couple minutes, right? Like, I think I can do this on my own, right? But I love that idea of that instant site builder. Now you've done this for bands already, right? You've got some band sites up.
I have not gotten any band sites up. I've got a couple of author sites that I've been working on, and then I
Okay.
also reached out to an organization called Never a Phase Network.
Never phase.
They're like more like a news alternative press, Rolling
Mm.
Stone magazine
Oh, cool.
type website where they publish articles, reviews. I started making some friends in that area because that's kind of my other passion is that sort of music, punk.
Sorry, which sort is it? Never phase. It's the
Never a Phase Network. It's punk music, emo music,
nice.
all the music I've been listening to since the early 2000s. That was never a phase, Mom.
Got it.
And so I looked at their website, and it was very clearly built on Squarespace. And I was like, this site looks good, but I can tell that none of you guys are web developers. Would you let me rebuild your site for free on my platform, on my CMS, and let you guys be my guinea pigs for what features make sense and what I can build. And from there, I started building. My current workflow for design is I start with Figma.
Okay.
I go through. I have some design stuff built into Figma already. I use Figma Make pretty freely, and then that flows into the Claude flow or the Claude experience.
Oh, nice. Do you
Great.
use like a
There's an
Figma
MCP.
MCP? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Very cool. Awesome. So you bring in the design, then what's your flow from there when you're working with on something like the CMS?
My flow from there is really just trial and error, I think, more than anything.
Oh, I think that's what a lot of like, especially developers can get fancier, but when you're building, a simple app, a lot of people don't realize, like they think they're like, well, now I need to be an engineer to understand what to ask it to do, when like not really, right?
No, not really. I mean, it works as a product manager for you almost, where all you have to do is tell it. And I guess that's where being a product manager is really helpful. All I have to do is tell it what I want to do, I want to be able to do. And a lot of times I'll also, because I want to be more involved in the process, I will say before you go off and code, because if you're not careful, it will just go do it for you. I'll say, I want to see a proposal of what you would do with this. And sometimes it comes back with great ideas. Sometimes it comes back with things that I wouldn't have thought of, which are great. And then sometimes I think my idea is better. And so I'll tell it, I like that, but actually I want you to do this instead.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it is true. I've noticed sometimes you can be just slightly like, oh, that is slightly different, like mental model than what I had about how we do this. Now I need to evaluate whether your idea is better than mine. Or-
Well, so here's a really good example is the Never a Phase Network is an online magazine, and so they needed advertising. They need the ability to have sponsored ad spots in different places on their website. And so I went in and I said, hey, I need to build this ad component and in the CMS so that I can place ads in the middle of articles, and so I can control what the ads look like. And that's all I really told it. And it came back with this robust feature where I can define the placements, I can weight the different ads between 1 and 100, how
Nice.
frequently I want them to show up. They
Mm,
are, I have different ad sizes that are different positioned, but it built this whole extravagant ad feature that as a module for the CMS that it was something I never thought I would need to build. But now that I have it, it's very cool. And it's funny because I'll sit down with my wife, who's a school teacher, and does not care about most of the things that I talk to her about. And I will geek out so hard, and she'll be like, "That's very cool. That's very cool." And I'm like, "You don't even
you
understand
don't
how
even
cool
know.
it is." But thank you for telling me that you.
Well, I think that's it's awesome that these features will be there, and you have them there to test for with people too. Of like, is this going to be a feature that makes you upsell, etc. Right? But the temptation is to overbuild some of this stuff sometimes too, right? Because we're having
It
fun.
absolutely is.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you rein yourself in when you know you need to stop?
I will try and bounce ideas off of people. So one of the things that I thought with my sister, I was like, what if I built an AI agent that was your character and kids could come to your website and they could talk to their favorite character from your book? And I was like, that's going to be such a cool differentiator. People are going to love it. And she was like, the first thing that any author will say if you start to position yourself as AI, they'll shoot you down right away because it's
Right.
such a derogatory term in the author space right now.
Right now. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
Absolutely.
like,
You're
fair
right.
enough.
I do not want an AI speaking on behalf of my characters when I'm not even in the room.
I was like, man, that was a really cool idea, I thought, but you're right.
Right.
I
No,
think
no.
most authors would not be okay with that, and that's probably not something that's worth my time to go out and build.
Yeah. Yeah. Super, super interesting. And that's the kind of insights you need. Like people often think that they've got the best perspective on it, especially if they're not the actual like clients. You've got to go check. Absolutely.
Absolutely, because I think I could have built that, and I think it would have been negative for my tool because
Yeah.
people would have seen it and automatically been like, nope,
Such-
don't want that.
Exactly. Such a good example. And these are things you can test early without building them. I think so many people too, because it's so cheap and easy to build now, are like, well, I'll build it and then I'll test if people want it. It's still tokens, man, and
It's
time,
tokens and it's time that I could have been doing something else, building something else, or having better ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's such an evolution to see that, like, hey, now you are not just leading AI and adoption, like at the forefront, using agentic AI at your company, and you're building tools. You've got this side hustle going, hopefully that you're trying to grow, but that I know you're able to try out lots of different ideas and pivot as needed or add new features really quickly. How did you get started when you wanted to get into the AI space?
Really, it came as almost a necessity. I remember pre-COVID, right before COVID hit, right, was when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, and I remember sitting in the office, or maybe it was right post-COVID. I don't
Like
know.
the early days
Yeah,
before, not ChatGPT 3, but like early ChatGPT?
I remember sitting in my office in Florida next to my boss, and we had been talking about writing SEO articles and how expensive it was to get these authors to write SEO articles for our site to drive organic traffic. And I was like, have you seen the news? Like, there's this new thing that you can tell it what you want and it will write the article for you.
Mm,
So I've always been since then, I've been very interested in what applications are possible. But really, around this time last year, when I was looking at how do I become an AI product leader? I've been in web for so long. I was like, man, I really want to transition into something else. And how do I get there? And I started noticing that all the job postings on LinkedIn were for AI product positions. And that's where I found you. I think at some point I found you. I read your background and was really impressed at, Amazon Alexa is a great name to throw out there as one of the first AI tools that I used. And that ultimately led me to sign up for the class. And then that led me to vibe coding. And here I am, very enthusiastic and excited about possibilities.
Oh, it's amazing. I've got to admit, you came out of the gate so strong with all the different vibe coding. I thought you'd been into it for longer, like before you met us, kind of thing. I thought you'd been playing with it more before that, because you were such a virtuoso with all these different tools so quickly.
That first vibe coding bootcamp weekend, I was in the class. I think it was a 2 hour long class that first Saturday. And then I had an idea and I sat and noodled through that idea. My wife can attest to the fact that I did not sleep that night. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning when she came out of the bedroom and was like, did you wake up early or did you just never come back? And I was like, I don't want to answer that question.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not wearing the same clothes as last night. Don't be suspicious. I may have been caught up in a similar situation before, sometimes getting, I feel like it's almost like a Claude Code frenzy or psychosis sometimes, especially if you
It's
get
like I could just one more prompt will get me what I want, I'm sure.
exactly. And you're like, I'm so close to getting it all done tonight. Well, there you have it. If you don't want to sleep anymore, if you hate sleep,
Yeah, and I will admit that was not the last time that I've
yeah,
had a night like that. But
crazy.
I do
But
try to sleep a little bit more.
it is of your own volition. It's you keeping you up because you're excited, and I think that's what's pretty cool about it. Is it's actually really fun to work
It's
this way.
a blast.
Awesome.
Another thing I'll say is I would never have thought to call myself a founder, and I never had really an aspiration to be an entrepreneur or to build a product. I would have had no idea where to start, but I do feel like I feel more empowered to do those sorts of things because I don't have to go find a partner or hire somebody or worry about whether or not we're going to make enough money to pay for both of us to be working on something, me and my technical partner.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
lot easier to try and fail when I know I'm I'm the
Yeah,
only one on the hook.
there's not so much pressure exactly to always get it right. So the freedom to experiment, which seems to be your advantage.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of takes away that burden of feeling like I'm wrong before I even get started.
Mm,
Because I could be wrong,
yeah.
but if I am, then the only time I'm wasting is mine. I'm not wasting somebody else's time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Oh, it's so good to hear that you felt so empowered. That's absolutely that's the best feeling to know. So if you had to boil down your advice to someone who's just getting started in AI curious, wants to be where you are soon, what if you had to boil it down to one sentence, what would your advice be?
My biggest thing would be get started. Just
Yeah,
start now.
yeah.
Find courses online, sign up for Polly's course, watch YouTube videos,
Mhm.
listen to podcasts, which you're probably already doing.
Yeah.
But start right away. And the other one thing I would say, I know you said one sentence. My other sentence is imposter syndrome is real. I still feel like an imposter saying I'm an AI product leader or a founder because it feels so accessible now at this point.
Yeah,
But just because it's accessible doesn't make it any less true.
absolutely. Absolutely. You've done the work. And
Yeah, and I've had to come with terms that I'm not an imposter.
absolutely.
Like I really do believe like that I'm a leader in this space, and so give yourself that opportunity to believe in yourself as well.
Absolutely are. Recently did a poll of a bunch of companies about where they are with a bunch of like product management practices and like absolutely getting agentic AI to like be your assistants and like run some of these processes. Like you're absolutely at the forefront of that because companies, a lot of them don't have like valuation criteria. They don't have a lot of like, how do we deal with these thousands of prototypes coming from everyone in the company, right? So don't worry, companies are really still stuck in the reactive mode in a lot of cases. And it's exciting to see leaders like you kind of taking the bull by the horns and being like, hey, how do we actually like lead from the front and not from the back? Super exciting. Awesome. Well, we have time for one last section, and that is plugs. And of course, so I want to give you a chance to share the awesome websites you've been building, but more importantly, too, that CMS product you're building. If we can find people who are looking for that, who should be interested in signing up, and how do they sign up?
Well, if you are interested in a website and
Yeah,
you like to work with me to help you build one, that's the only criteria.
amazing.
My website's the digital fair with so
Yeah. Okay.
thedigitalfair.com.
Okay.
Um,
FAIR, like your name.
Yep, yep. It's a play on my name, but it's the idea is the internet is a showcase, and I want to show off your blue ribbon work.
It's a really good domain, man. I was like, did you have to pay a lot for that domain? I like it.
I'll be completely transparent. I brainstormed a lot, but then I also used ChatGPT to help me pick the name at some point.
Awesome. Very cool. So thedigitalfair.com, they can sign up to work with you on building sites. You're still looking for people who are looking for that, like, help me build a site.
Yep.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking for people who are interested in working with me as beta testers, even. But yeah, from my site there, you can sign up for a 30-minute consultation or just 30 minutes to chat about your ideas or the project that you're working on. And I love meeting new people and even just having a conversation.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. And then the second one was that never a phase.
Yeah, neveraphasenetwork.com.
Awesome.
They're going to be launching my new site tomorrow morning, February 6th. So probably in the past for people listening to this. But neveraphasenetwork.com. Feel free to check it out. You can see exactly the types of things that you can build with my CMS, and also read some really great articles about the alternative music scene.
Exactly. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I remember
Yeah.
that era. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, from my side, I'd love to plug our masterclass. We always have a new masterclass each month at aicareerboost.com. Do check us out. It's a masterclass for leaders. So the path to AI product leadership, how to become indispensable in that AI era and be an AI leader who's building with your team and leading from the front. So do sign up there and check us out. That's another episode of AI Product Leader. Thanks once again, Phil, for joining. It's such an inspiration to see all the stuff that you've built so quickly, and I'm super excited to see where it goes. So thanks again for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Wonderful.